American police, they're not. They are not very nah. Alright? They're more nah. They're more get on the ground, you're under arrest.
This episode's sponsor is Jim Beam, sponsoring single mothers and abusive relationships for the last 30 years.
Please don't open it.
I wanted to see what happens when you open it.
Alright, fine. I said literally don't.
You said don't, he said do, I vote do.
What about Bad Luck Brian?
Bad Luck Brian is an urban legend. He's not real. He was made up by Big Cigarette. Specifically for disabled people. You booked them, you lied on the ticket, you said, one of us needs wheelchair accessibility.
Well, yeah, like have you ever jailed?
Like an hour ago. I mean, you've spoken to me on a personal level now and I feel attacked, quite frankly.
There were men taking their business.
There's men that are better than women?
And being women.
Unheard of. How could they?
Oh.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you an emergency broadcast. Strap in for a new episode of Barnzey Burns Down the World.
How you doing, Dazz?
Good.
It's been a while since you and I have been on the show, just us. Well, okay, you know what? You're not in this episode. You could speak out loud if you
I
want.
didn't say a word.
And that's all you will say for the rest of the episode.
We'll see about that.
Dude, we've got heaps to talk about.
It's been a few months, hasn't it?
It's been at least a few months. But the last time you and I sat down and recorded one-on-one, it was in, I want to say November.
Okay, yeah. And then I think I was in the background episode with...
Not background, dude. Main cast.
With Sheldon?
Actually, yes.
I was background.
You were background and that. You fell asleep during that, so that doesn't count. You lazy fuck. So we fixed that.
I worked my ass off.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did, but we fixed it this time with a cool, refreshing taste of Jim Beam. Yeah. It's kind of Mark Norman's thing and Sam Morril to get drunk on the podcast, but that's like, I guess that's part of their branding. Have you heard their show?
No.
Okay, so they call it We Might Be Drunk. They get different bartenders in to make them cocktails and a different guest to try them out, and they critique it while they're just talking shit.
Yeah.
Fantastic niche for alcoholics. The best. Right? But I bring up Mark Norman specifically because you and I are going to go see him live in possibly, I want to say...
When's this release?
This releases, I don't know actually, because I might push this based on everything scheduled this weekend, but we're not the only ones. Who else is going to come watch Mark Norman with us?
We've got Just Tom and Sheldon joining us too.
It's going to be a podcast outing!
Yeah. That should be good.
Yeah, and look, how that content may be consumed may be paired with other consumptions.
Well,
we'll see how the night goes.
I got us pretty decent fucking seats as well.
Yeah.
So, do you remember when we went and saw Tom Segura?
Of course I remember we went to see Tom Segura.
And you remember we were talking about how mint it would be being at the front row, like of the balcony there?
Yep.
We're like in the second row, from like the front of the balcony.
I don't think it can get better. Like even actual front row seats, like A1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
That is nowhere near as good as like what, because like I was unfamiliar with just even the fact that the balcony even really exists. Like you don't even see it from the stage.
Yeah.
And you just kind of forget it's there.
Yeah.
But it's such a good viewpoint.
Yeah.
When we were watching Segura, you can see everything.
As long as you're at the front, in the good chairs, the nice comfy chairs.
Yeah.
If you're...
The ones specifically for disabled people, you booked them, you lied on the ticket, you said, one of us needs wheelchair accessibility. Here's my permit and...
My wheelchair?
Yeah. Just no wheelchair.
When the chick asked us to check the tickets, I just told Josh to start like drooling.
And I'm sitting there going...
I should wave this right through.
It's like, alright, 2 for Tom Segura. This is his normal fan base. Actually, when we looked around, lots of men in their 50s with no hair and beards.
That was true.
There was
a lot of bald guys.
They all just looked like Tom Segura. Yeah. But, dude, if you know your niche, go for it. Like, good on him. Yeah. And good on everyone that goes to see it. Tom Segura is just the fucking best. Way better than that guy, Bert.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that. I can believe you've only seen one of Bert's specials.
I have. I only watched the most recent one. So,
Yeah.
I
Very
think-
different style to The Machine, of course.
yeah. So I watched not the Machine special, but the Machine story before I even knew what stand-up was. Like on Facebook back in, I want to say 2011, there were 3 main clips circulating around. There was Gabriel Iglesias talking about Indians robbing a bank.
Yeah.
There was Bert Kreischer telling the Machine story, and there was Jimmy Carr roasting people's mothers.
Yeah.
That was pretty much prime stand-up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Those were the 3 people that I saw before I even knew what stand-up was. And I remember kind of being a bit disgusted that there was a fat guy on stage with no shirt. But I remember loving the story. So credit to him there for being memorable, but fuck man, I kind of wish I didn't.
Yeah.
But after watching that new special, there was this like kind of newfound respect for Bert. Like I respect him a little bit more from listening to him wheeze that fake laugh. Actually, apparently it's not a fake laugh. So he does this cooking show. So this sounds like I'm a massive Bert Kreischer fan. I'm not, but I know so much about the guy that I may as well be.
Yeah.
The dude has like this cooking show where he just has other comics on, other people, and oh look at this.
This isn't the cabin, is it?
No. This is Something's Burning, is what he calls it.
Okay,
so he cooks and he has other comics on, and they just talk. And he brings his dad on. Fucking stole that idea from me, by the way. Brings his dad on for content.
Good episode. I'd recommend it to you guys.
Both of them, both are
Fantastic.
just great. Isn't it annoying? Imagine if you found someone who was accidentally as good, if not better, at your job than you.
No, 100% he's better at the job than it did.
That's kind of infuriating.
Yeah.
But it's a goal to say, like, I see him and I go, yeah, I can. There's hope.
Yeah.
there's a chance.
Yeah.
So Tom Segura brings his dad on for the cooking show, and I think they're making lasagna or something. One of them messes something up and starts laughing, and him and his dad have the exact same laugh, and it's authentic as fuck.
Yeah.
And that annoys me more. Because at least if it was the obnoxious, fake wheezy laugh, it's on purpose, but the fact that it's natural, it just makes me angry. And I can't explain it, it just...
No, I agree. The laugh fucking annoys me too, especially during podcasts.
Yeah. And it just overpowers everyone. It's like he's purposely trying to be obnoxious and interrupting, unlike anyone that we know. And it's like he doesn't even see what's going on. He just wants to hear his own voice.
So, and I feel like it was most highlighted during the podcast episode where Bert and Tom had Adriana Chechnik on.
Yes.
Yeah, because Bert was fucking going off the rails, like, every 2 seconds. And Tom was just like, bro, I have legitimate questions to ask right now.
And it got to the point where Tom was like, hey, shut the fuck up. I want to ask the porn star all the questions I need to know.
Just started talking over him, just didn't give a fuck.
And that made Bert laugh more. He was like, I've never seen Tom more serious in my fucking life. Like, this dude has never interviewed anyone with this much enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And as soon as we bring on this porn star that we've joked about, was it her that they joked about DPing?
I think it was her that suggested it.
Yes. Yes, I think that was. And the wives were like, no, absolutely not. Understandable. Like, what if we put strap-ons, but backwards, so we're just kind of like backwards humping, and then they're like, no, that's not acceptable, we're not doing that. It's like, in my mind, that's fine. Yeah, to me, that's okay. But, I'm not married, I don't have a wife, I don't have anyone to contest that opinion. Fair enough. I'm also not a millionaire, comedian, so there's that too. But Tom Segura, man, when he told Bert to shut up, I got like a half erection. Like, for me, I was just like, fuck yes, Tom, go for it.
Honestly, I hope that continues in more of the episodes.
Yes.
I think it's kind of just become the norm, but Tom needs to fucking back up, keep it going.
So I've had it, other comedians have explained their personalities in comparison to each other. Bert's like the me, give me attention, and Tom doesn't really need that.
Yeah.
He's happy to exist as he is and be himself, and I think maybe that's why they work best as a duo.
Yeah.
But when they're separated, that's fine. It works both together and apart, and that's what you want. It's different dynamics, different content, and it means that they can make fucking 5 YouTube channels each, and they'll all be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of what's happened.
Yeah.
With your mum's house. Actually, so Moss and I were looking over that channel fucking genius business model. 4 podcasts going through the one channel, and if you subscribe to one, you see them all.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fucking well done.
Your mum's house is the studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all about your mum's house is the company. Just imagine a pyramid.
Yeah.
Your mum's house is the company, and they've got 2 bears. They've got fucking just the Your Mum's House podcast.
Yeah.
They have Danny Brown show and does Christina P's podcast run through that network as well?
I think so. Because she also did, what was it? The wives one, when the guys were doing Sober October, she did it with just the wives. Like,
Yeah.
running this like a simultaneous podcast on the side.
And is that still going, or was that just...
Nah, that was just for Sober
Just for that,
October.
so...
Whatever they did it, like they do it,
I would actually be kind of interested in seeing like another perspective, because we know like what Sober October. You explained to me like when it was in its down season.
Yeah.
I think around the time of the drugging. Fuck you, Bert.
Yeah. As in, but it was already on the down prior to that.
Yes. Yeah, the wives were already like, no, this is
Losing their
enough.
shits, yeah.
For those that don't know what the hell we're talking about, can you explain the concept of Sober October? Because you taught me initially, and you could probably explain
I
a lot
think
better.
it's a fantastic idea. So basically, Bert was like probably in the worst health he's ever been in terms of weight and stuff, and just drinking too. So he used to drink. He actually would drink like every night after every show, like go hard as fuck. Like what people would have in an entire weekend, Bert would probably do in one night. So his mates, Joe Rogan, Ari Shafir, and Tom, Segura,
Not just Tom.
all came up with this idea to have Sober October, where basically all of them would get off alcohol and drugs, and then they'd also all work out and make it into an entire competition.
What years did this start?
Probably 5 years ago, I'm guessing.
So 18.
Possibly,
Because
yeah.
I thought 18 was the second time they did it.
It could have been the year before.
Okay.
But I'll explain in a second. The first year, basically, it was just to get Bert to just be healthy for a month, basically.
It was an intervention.
Yeah, it was an intervention. And the thing was, the way they got everyone to get on board with it and track it was they got like Fitbits, basically. Or Joe got sponsored by some company that did a Fitbit, basically. And they all wore it, and basically they used that to like make it a competition. They were like, who could burn the most calories and who could do like the most, cardio or whatever. And then like, that's how they went. And they're all super competitive too. And Joe is like the most competitive of them all. And his goal was to make Bert cry.
And he succeeded.
Yeah. He was like, no matter how hard Bert tries, I am going to beat him. And he did. So
The story I heard that came back to light due to the nature of algorithms was Rogan was in his own, I guess, like private gym, and I don't know, he did a break for the sauna, came back, did cardio, and he's watching like the first John Wick movie the scene in the nightclub where he's killing everyone. That scene on repeat over and over and over again, and Rogan, he's just like fucking running.
Yeah.
He's really into it. And he sweats so much that he sets off the fire alarm on his own gym. Yeah.
oh my god.
Commendable effort.
Yeah.
Well fucking done. Respect. If you don't like Rogan's comedy, if you don't like his commentating, if you don't like anything about him, you have to like the fact that the dude works hard.
Yeah.
He gets in there and he fucking does it.
Yeah.
And it was against Bert, so bonus points.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, first year was a success. Bert lost a shit ton of weight because obviously he got off all alcohol and he was working out a shit ton. So the second year, they wanted to increase the competition and they just added some more like challenges and things like that.
Was it specific challenges?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like, I don't know. They had certain goals or milestones they had to achieve. Like, I don't know. I think it was like they had to run a certain amount in a month or like do certain activities basically.
Was that the one where Bert was like, I can run a half marathon? And they're like, go on, you wouldn't do it? And he does it.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. And then, but that second year, it got way out of hand. Like, the guys took the competition so far that they started neglecting their families just so they could beat each other in the competition. Like, I remember hearing Joe talk on his podcast. He was like, yeah, I wasn't going to, like, the girls' like recitals and stuff because I just wanted to beat Bert, and I was just running on the treadmill for 3 hours. Like,
So that was it. That's the competition. It's the recipe is like John Wick beat Bert and cardio.
Yeah.
That's the recipe for success.
yeah. And he's like, I don't give a fuck as long as I beat Bert. And like, I think it was the same time as when Christina P started the podcast with the wives to discuss how shitty the home life was, because the guys were all just like trying to like work out and beat each other and stuff. And basically, the wives had an intervention at the end of that Sober October, and they're like, enough, we're not doing this again next year. And then the third year, they had to dial it back. They were like, all right, we've got to reduce the competition this time. And they tried to make it more wholesome. It was like, instead of like having some crazy workout, it was like, okay, I'm going to read a book for the month. And my goal is to finish the book by the end of the month. Shit like that. Like,
You still have to do sober, but you still have to do a challenge.
Yeah, and they were still working out and stuff, but it wasn't as like, okay, we have to like run 4 hours a day kind of shit. It was like more just like relaxed kind of thing. And that was a lot smoother. And that's kind of been, I think, the tone of Sober October ever since.
Real quick, we have a question from the One Live Studio audience member.
Yes. What if you just like you kept the exact same parameters except you like time boxed it, so it's like you can do that until 6 p.m. and then to midnight or something.
No
like
time
that.
box because they're comedians. They work on their own different schedules. Like to them, like you could be waking up at 5 p.m. and you'd still be a productive member of society because they'll have shows at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. They'll work until midnight. They'll be out until 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's why it's a challenge.
But time doesn't matter to them. They're all working.
They're just working out a ton.
Exactly.
So then they're forcing their way to do it, like you could do with the time box. But also the other goals are nice.
Yes. So, but it's primarily, I think it was an intervention.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But then once it was Sober October, because the most recent one was number 4, right?
Yeah.
So number 3 was the one where Ari Shafir.
Yeah, so it was like right at the end of it as well.
No, it wasn't the start. It was
the start.
So it was like
right before it started.
So yeah, it was like September 29th.
Yeah.
And they decided, like, Bert decided, hey, I'm going to have Ari over for a podcast. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have fun. He does his own thing. I don't listen to it. I'm not a fan of Bert. And Ari goes, you know, it'll be a good. How does he sound? He's like, you know, it'd be a good idea if I was to drug his drink. That'd be pretty funny. And that's exactly what he does. He puts a bit of Molly in Bert's drink, and it kicks in during the recording. They're doing the podcast just like this, and it just fucking kicks in, and Bert fucking freaks out. Now, I don't know if you've seen, very recently, he went on Andrew Schultz's podcast, and Andrew called ahead. He goes, hey, Tom, what can we do to, like, get Bert, like, in a prank sense? And then Tom's like, he's got a fear of clowns. And they bring a clown with balloons onto the show, because he's also got a massive irrational fear of balloons. And they bring him onto the podcast, and they get him talking, like there's like half an hour through, maybe an hour through. He's comfortable, he's relaxing, he's like partway through telling a story about Rogan's new club, which we're going to talk about in a sec. And he just fucking shuts down. Now, horrible situation for Bert, undeniably hilarious. Like, I'm sitting there listening ahead going, this is kind of fucking funny. I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
And now I know Bert Kreischer's 1 week, 2. You know, I know his 2 weaknesses. Balloons, he can't fucking stand. It's like the anticipation of popping them. It's completely irrational. I get it. But also, fuck him. And clowns. And he says there's nothing that happened in his childhood about clowns. Nothing that happened with balloons. He just doesn't like them. And he's now revealed it to the whole world. So, you know, I'm keeping that in the back of mind, just in case. But then he never ends up even telling the story about the club. Like, it just never happens. So I have to find out about that in other podcasts, like about the opening and that. And Ari got a lot of shit for drugging Bert. And you know what? Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It was like, what's the come down for Molly is like, it's a full day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So doing that, I think it was like either the day before or 2 days before this massive event.
Yeah, he was going to be performing in another, like, state, basically.
Yeah, and like the way Molly works, it would be like it releases all the dopamine.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Let's
Not fucking good.
Where's Sheldon Media? Like he's got like his own mental encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's true.
He would answer straight away. He goes, "Yep, this is that, and here's a story about the time I did this."
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'd be going off for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really fucked up Bert, and I think maybe they were going to do the competition, but that was the year that they didn't.
No, they were already planning to dial it back, and they
Yeah.
did shit like they each had a different activity. Like I think one of them did yoga for the whole month. Another one like read a book. Like it was something.
Ari was the one that did yoga.
Yeah, and basically it was like some small like kind of activity that they just had to be consistent at for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how they did the competition. Was like if you didn't do your activity for the month, you lost. So it was just like we just doing the bare minimum, which is just being consistent.
So after that, I believe like there was the whole incident. Like, all right, we've started over October. Let us finish it this year. And then the wife stepped in again and said, "Hey, that's it. You're done."
Yeah.
A couple of years passed, and they brought it back last year. So
Yeah.
at this point, they hadn't done it. You told me about it, and they said, "Oh, we're bringing it back." And I was like, "Fuck yes, this is good." And I think I told you while they were doing Sober October, I was doing Don't Be Sober in October.
Yeah.
Every day, something. And you know what? Yeah, kind of was worse off for it. Fair enough. So maybe we should do our own Sober October. And not in the flip twisted sense that I did it.
Yeah.
Even though it's quite fun. It's pretty good. That being said, dude, I think I'm addicted to weed. Like, I'm pretty sure. It's way fucking out of hand.
This is an internet show.
Oh, now it's now it's you didn't even know I was going to fucking say that. No, but dude, it's too good. Like you know how you get those those drug warnings when you're younger,
Yeah.
and they're not explained because they're not given by people who are experienced. Except for that giraffe in the van, he knew he'd done everything.
What about Bad Luck Brian?
Bad Luck Brian is an urban legend. He's not real. He was made up by Big Cigarette. For those who don't know, Bad Luck Brian is the guy on the. So you know when you buy a pack of cigarettes and there's a picture of a guy and his toes are missing, his lungs don't work properly, and his face is fucked up. He's dead. If you were set, and there's like pictures of like hands and feet and arms, and if you buy enough different cigarette packets and you put them together like Exodia, you create Bad Luck Brian. And that's like, I think that might be an Australian thing.
Well, it's because the guy sells on the dead corpse on the cigarette's name. It says on the cigarette packet is Brian. Bad Luck Brian is the internet meme of that dude who's just initially is just like I don't know, he's just really freckled and no one likes him or something, I don't know. But then there's the corpse of Brian, that's Bad Luck Brian, he's dead. Then there's all the pictures of him and stuff like that. I had never heard of the Exodia one, but I like that a lot.
That's like an Australian. It's like how when you're 14 and you're doing your first cones, the bong is made of like an oak bottle and a pipe hose.
Cordial.
Yeah, or a cordial bottle. Like that's like the middle class version of that. Yeah, like it all comes down to Australian culture, really.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm all here for it. Like, except for the cigarettes thing. Like, I tried off the bat 3 cigarettes in a row when I first had it, and then I thought about smoking every day for like 2 months.
Oh shit.
Like consistently, like, man, fuck, those cigarettes were good. And I sat there wondering if I was a smoker now. And then after I realized that I really liked like punching codes, I was like, oh fuck, I am a smoker, just not the cancer kind, just the other kind. And it wasn't look, I still support the habit. But now I'm a little bit more conscious, and in the back of my mind it's like fuck, I guess I'm an addict. And I didn't think that would bring the podcast down very much as it did. So let's bring it back by talking about Joe Rogan's club. Segue. Okay, that drone video of when that club opened. So I actually I went to Just Tom as soon as I saw that video, and I was like, dude, while this big thing was happening, like this big like life event, the week that it started, we completely fucking missed this. Joe Rogan opened up his new club, the one that he's been talking about for months and months and months. No, dude, even like years. Like, was it like it was during quarantine that they figured out that hey, I'm going to buy this venue, turn it into a comedy club, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. Holy fuck, that happened, and I missed it.
Yeah.
And I watched that video like 5 or 6 times. Not even exaggerating. Like, it was perfect. Like the drone, like flying around, going through all the rooms, showcasing everything. People being on the outside. There weren't people in the audience seats or anyone on stage. That would have been distracting and probably against drone regulation laws. But the actual tour, the fact that it was done with a drone, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then Bill Burr's voiceover, like that excerpt from his podcast where he's talking about like making money for the first time. I don't know if it was for the first time, but in the early days, and like being over the moon, even though he lost money from it, he was doing the thing that he wanted to do. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, fuck, man, this could be part of my future.
Yeah.
And like it connected with me. And I really fucking like that video. Now let's get technical about the drone laws, because I know that we talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
To even shoot that video, you were telling me how they, like, the initial shot at the start outside the club, what was that called?
The, like the establishing shot, or the, what do you mean?
When it comes down to the law of what you can do to film it.
Yeah, so I know for Australia, like flying a drone kind of is covered by the Australian Aviation Authority, I guess. And if you're just like a private drone pilot, first of all you have to get licensed, which is pretty straightforward to get licensed, but there's a lot of restrictions that come with it. So, for example, you can't fly within 30 meters of people, houses, or a national park, and airports, airfields, all that kind of jazz as well. So the only way to get around that is to have a commercial license, because once that's like some additional training required to get that, and then with that, then you can, I think you can apply to do certain flights and stuff, and you get permission to fly close to houses and people and whatnot. So I imagine they would have needed some sort of permit to fly the drone, like in that type of area.
But he started in the street.
Yeah, so I imagine they didn't get it, because it's so quick to get the shot, like you can get away with it. But as soon as you fly into the building, then it's like you're on private property.
Here's the problem though, like that initial shot, if there is any evidence, like, oh yeah, you flew your drone out there and you filmed a shot. No, I didn't. Alright, here's the footage. Done, case over.
Yeah, but it's subject to like discretion of whoever wants to like prosecute them.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Probably no one cares.
Exactly, yeah. So unless they like actually, if they were flying next to an airport, then 100% people will come for them. But if it's like,
It's not. It was like, apparently there was like, down the street there was a club, and then down the other street there was another club, and it's like, it's in this district.
That's the thing. If it's not hurting people, people will just be like, yeah, whatever.
Like, it was in like the middle of the afternoon or something.
So I mean, yeah, if you want to get technical, then yes, they probably didn't do it right, but at the same time...
The law is technical.
No.
What do you mean if you want to get technical? Like, that's what the law... There's literally like subsections of laws about laws.
Even if the laws are there, it's like up to the discretion of the people coming after you. Like, if they don't care, then you can get away with stuff. It's fine. Like,
okay, alright, fair enough.
So, just because you can't do something doesn't mean like people will 100% come after you for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, just because you can't do something doesn't mean you can't do something.
Well, yeah. Like, have you ever jaywalked?
Like an hour ago.
Yeah. You get fucking pulled by the cops, right? Like, this is my point. Like, it just depends. Like, even if a cop saw you, you'd be like, whatever. You fucking trying to kill people. Like, it's fine.
But also, that was a little bit. You said yeah, nah, and then you served that in. That's very Australian culture.
That's true. Yeah.
American police, they're not. They are not very yeah, nah. All right, they're more nah, nah. They're more get on the ground, you're under arrest. There's no yeah about their yeah, nah. It's just nah, nah.
It doesn't when you were forward. It just sounded like you were just mocking the person. Like, just the rest of them went nah.
Well, it is a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah, it's a different pedigree of police.
But yes, in terms of the actual technicality of the shot, pretty simple to do these. Like, that type of drone would have been one of the mini drones.
Mm-hmm.
which has got all like the computer stabilizers and stuff in it. It actually makes it very easy to fly indoors and stuff. I was just surprised by how good the quality was of the video in such a low light environment. It looked very good.
Now that you mention it, yes, do you reckon there's the possibility that there was like an iPhone mounted to it and then it had that software that corrects for lighting? So I know iPhones do that automatically.
Yeah. I know, well, to be honest, I know some of the bigger drones that people fly, like some of the FPV drones, the ones that fly super fast.
Yep.
The guys I follow, they just strap a GoPro to it. Like, instead of using the native camera, they just strap a GoPro on it because it's a bigger sensor and stuff.
Alright, so you reckon maybe they could have used but the GoPro...
I don't think they would have used an iPhone, they would have... The GoPro's nice because it's kind of aerodynamic, it's small, nimble,
Yep.
and it just kind of depends on the size of the drone because it affects the battery, flight time, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I imagine they could have gotten away with it just on a GoPro because of the stabilization as well. It's an added bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it did a very good job at showing off the club itself.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, I doubt it was a massive drone because they even go, like, there's, like, a split stairway section where it shows, like, the two, like, the main room and then, like, I guess, like, the testing material room. But then they're both fucking massive rooms, both bigger than the best club in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And they're named after the nukes dropped on Japan. Did you see that? Did you see that on the board? Like it said,
I missed that.
Yeah. On the side, it said, here's the little boy room and the fat man room.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. And it doesn't fit with the theme of like aliens and the mothership and all that. But that's what it's called. Yeah, the mothership.
Yeah.
But no, just having the rooms named after the nukes, pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I see that and I go, fuck, that'll be. I just even to visit there. The problem is that Texas is very far away.
Yeah.
If it wasn't as far away, that'd be good. Dude, they sell tickets for that show. It sounds like an ad now. For $40, regardless of who's there, just $40 for whatever show. If you want to go see Kill Tony, if you want to go see, like they do, like Rogan's friends will have Tom Segura and friends, Bert Kreischer and friends, Christina P and friends, and it'll just be a lineup of, like, literally Rogan's mates. To just get into a show like that, $40.
US,
Yeah, US. So what is it, like half an add-on, or is it double? What's the
Around
exchange rate?
60.
Right.
$60. Okay. So $60 to just go there for a night and to see big names like that, that's a privilege that we don't get in Australia.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. I would, like, even consider the possibility of moving somewhere just even a little bit closer, just to, like, be able to experience that like that, even as an audience member, not even just as, like, a comic. Like, that'd be fucking awesome. And I think that's kind of what was pictured in mind. Like, when Rogan was talking about the club to other people on his podcast when it first opened as, I guess, a way to promote it, he would talk about how back in the day he would say, hey, you don't want to be a club owner. Like, it's a terrible job. You're dealing with comedians. And I know because I'm one of the comedians. So be nice to them because comedians are shit. They're shit people and they're just horrible to work with. And now I own a club. And he doesn't regret it for a second because it's like his business model. So here's what I've heard, right? It's just all like rumors and shit. The way that he's paying comedians is so much more than other clubs that he's just breaking even with the club. It's making no money. It's just a way to host comedy. And because it's so outrageous, all the comedians win in terms of being able to perform, making money from doing so, like literally doing their jobs, what they love. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. And we have Spotify to thank for that. And that massive deal, that $200 million is going back to the people. And they're all subscribing to Spotify so they can listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. And it's just going back to them. It's all a conspiracy. It's a big wheel.
Yeah.
That's what I think has happened. But it's all very speculative, of course.
It's all come full circle.
It has.
Was paying yourself to do the job?
Yeah. That's all. That's a joke for us. Hang on. Breathe in the drink. I'm curious because like that room looks like it's set up prime for filming a comedy special.
Yeah.
You reckon it's going to be Rogan that does the first special there?
Yeah. Why not?
Well, I know why not, but he's the kind of person that wouldn't be the first. Like he'd say, "Hey, someone else go do it." Like someone else, if you can beat me to the punch, do the first comedy special at my club.
That's true. But also, it's been a while since he's done a special, isn't it?
Which triggered the last one?
Yeah, but that was like 2020, wasn't it?
I thought 17.
Or earlier even, yeah. It's been a while.
That's the one where he has the joke about Harvina Weinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good joke. I really like that one. Fuck. So, speaking of comedians, we just watched Louis C.K.'s special,
Yeah.
and it doesn't disappoint.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. I did like, in terms of because this was the first special I'd seen of his, so
Was it really?
I believe so. I think I may have seen a clip of like one of the jokes or something, but I hadn't seen a full special of his. So I think it was a good one to introduce me to.
Just the newest, where he's the best he could be. Actually, it's not the newest. He filmed one, Madison Square Garden, I think.
Yeah.
And it's fucking massive, and you can buy it online. I haven't, so we can't see it. But that one's probably the newest material from the show that I watched when I went to see him in November.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But this special, like, overall, what do you think?
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. It was dark humor.
Yeah.
This was was this the first one after he got cancelled?
So I'm trying to. I think the previous one, because his cancellation was 2016, was it?
Yeah.
So he has a special in 2017.
Okay.
So no, but it's the next best one. Like this was filmed. This is 2021. So it's gonna have COVID. Like that. COVID material kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
It kind of rubs everyone the wrong way. It does make it tougher for everyone. There was even like a very small bit of COVID material in the John Mulaney special. Like as of recording today, was released yesterday, and filmed in February this year. So already the COVID material was on, but it was very, very, very small. Like barely noticeable. It was like acknowledge it, move on.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah.
That being said, the special in question, the theme. So I've heard Segura talk about this heaps. He's been rejected specials based on the material because there's no theme of it, and he goes, "This is fucking ridiculous." But when you watch a special with a theme, like when you watch this special, right?
Yeah.
Would you say there was an overarching theme across everything that he talked about?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't think other comedians also have an overarching thing either.
no,
I'm thinking back to like even Anthony Jeselnik when his special.
No,
they're all over the place. Like
his theme is just like
dark humor.
Yeah. Jimmy Carr's special was like jokes from the internet that you've heard before in 2013.
Yeah.
Kind of. That sounds like a shit. I enjoyed it. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was an alright special. But the Mulaney special, the John Mulaney one that I watched last night, Baby J, the majority of it was about his experience going to rehab. An hour of like themed material around that would jump around and then come back to it. When you watch a special structured like that, you'll see what I mean. They are so much better.
Yeah.
It's like the show. Do you remember when we went to see Luke Kidgell's show in 2021? When us, Just Tom, and Moss, we went to the comedy festival.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And do you remember there was a joke that kept coming back about, initially it was about driving manuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that came back like 7 times.
Yeah.
It was continuously funny. Yeah. So that 7th laugh, the feeling of that after you've heard the joke 6 times, but it's come back in its own way and everything links back together like that.
Yeah.
How that was done, fantastic, perfect. That would have made a great special.
Mm.
That's kind of what Mulaney's one was like. Like it was all like it was rehab.
Yeah.
And it was still rehab. It was like stories. It was about the intervention. It was about the experience there. What he thought, what his thought process was, even after rehab. And the dude fucking nails it. Like even I showed you like a 5-minute clip from like a previous special from years ago. That clip about the presidency. If he didn't do the Trump impression, that could have been about any president.
Yeah.
That's how well written that stand up is.
Yeah.
Yeah. For old people, that could have been George Bush.
Yeah.
For less older people, that could have been Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he made that about Trump. Could have made it about Biden. It's the same thing, and that's how well it works.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, Tom, you need to watch John Mulaney. You need to keep watching him, and you need to watch all the content. That's your homework.
I saw Puss in Boots 2, I really.
Dude, no joke. Puss in Boots 2 is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like genuine, like well animated, excellent execution, and myself, Vinny, and two of our mates. Sorry, myself, Moss, Vinny, and one other mate now. Were like laughing, like genuinely laughing. It's like there's laugh at and there's laugh with. We were laughing with this like animated sequel to a secondary Shrek character. That's how good this movie was. Like it was fantastic. And then John Mulaney plays like the villain, who's just this like irredeemable cunt.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because you've got that like that voice, the John Mulaney voice, and it's paired with this like okay, so it's what's the nursery rhyme is Little Jack Horner. Yeah, Little Jack Horner. The dude with the pie and the thumb and all that shit. So he talks about how he had a great childhood and this pie business empire, and he's always grown up rich, and he's had everything he wanted, but he just wants to rule the world. And it's fucking. You gotta watch the movie for yourself. It is.
Yeah, I need to.
It's genuinely so good. Like I cannot like it's better than some comedy specials I've watched. But like actually, I think I enjoyed watching that more than I enjoyed watching Bert's special. But I was looking at Bert's special with my own sort of bias perspective, whatever you want, anger, whatever you want to call it. Now, the way that he does his material... So, okay, when you're on stage, you don't have much to work with. You've got yourself, your physicality, like how you can move and talk, like that's part of the performance. You've got a microphone, you've got a mic stand, and you've got a stool. That's pretty much it, unless you have something specific on there. Like, so just Tom and I also watched Jim Jeffries. That one's a very good special, High and Dry. It was like his 10th special, and it really shows. Like, he's so well practiced.
Except the ending. Classic ending.
Okay, except the ending. But, like, the rest of it, fucking solid. Like, you did that, that kind of, what is it? How would you describe that laugh? Not a truck backing up. Like a penguin having a stroke.
I've never seen a penguin having a stroke. I don't think
I
anyone
have.
has.
I've seen a penguin having a stroke. You know how he laughs when he's like dying hysterically?
Yeah.
Penguin having a stroke. So he was laughing like that at that special, and I haven't seen that. It was good. It was fantastic. Not a criticism. And I'd forgotten like that he was capable of laughing like that, and that's thanks to Jim Jeffries that I was reminded that he's a bit of a retard. He laughs like a bit of a
It was a
retard.
very funny special. I still don't like him as a person, but it's a very, very good special.
Can you briefly tell me why you don't like him as a person?
Because he had that previous show where he would do news articles and stuff like that, like sort of like a Joel the kind of thing of Trevor Noah or whatever in the US. And so he did an interview with someone, and then the guy recorded the interview secretly. And
I remember that actually.
and then Jim Jeffries and Neville, they took the answer from one of his questions to then put it to a different question to make him look like an idiot and have a terrible point of view, even though he answered them with two different ones. So the guy released the audio.
So that would be
that's not what happened.
Yeah, so that'd be the equivalent of that would be like if I chopped around this podcast and got you to laugh at some of the fuck shit that I'd say, and then
Well, like, genuinely.
Yeah, that was... I don't know about that yet.
Sorry,
I don't know about that.
you don't know about what?
no, that's the name of the show.
That's the name of the show.
Oh,
And you're like, I don't know about that.
The guy should have responded with, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about
Here's the full clip.
Actually, I do remember the guy recording himself and then like losing respect for Jim Jeffries, but then it had been so long since I'd seen anything about him, just forgetting about it. That's the power of news. If you leave enough time, people will just forget and they won't give a shit.
I know about it, but that didn't affect the quality of his joke. So it was objectively a funny special. I can't.
Yes, I quite enjoyed that special as well. Like there were specific bits and pieces that I remember writing down. I don't know if any of it was actually relevant, but what I'm going to do is for people who are listening audio, I'm just bringing out the tablet and really like, quickly seeing if I did write anything. And I did. So I made a good point to Tom, all right, when like I was checking the time every 10 minutes, not because I was bored, but because it felt like every 10 minutes was its own refined set. So if you imagine going out to a club, you're like, all right, you've got a 10-minute set. each 10 minutes of this hour special was its own set. I think it was 6 fantastic sets in a row, all linked, just perfect. All right, that's why I wrote it down. That's why it was important. Yep, quick COVID, closer we already covered, and you should watch it for yourself. I think you'll enjoy it, but we set each other so much homework on the show. It's like, hey, watch this, do that, research this, that, do it at your own discretion. It's fine.
Yeah, and to be fair, since the last special, the comedy special, for this podcast, you moved houses, I moved houses.
There's lots
a lot of shit happened.
We moved studios.
Yes. Twice.
Twice, yeah. And
So,
we've just been keeping busy, so it's hard to...
And I think, because did we watch Hassan Minaj as well?
Yeah, that was in the... I think we were doing audio only at that point.
Yeah.
That's how long ago that was, and I forgot the name of Hassan Minaj. And boss was like, "Oh, this is his favorite comedian. You're shitting all over him." I was like, "No, I just have a bad memory. All right, that's not okay." So, do you know how you were watching that special and you connected with Hassan Minaj?
Of course.
Okay, so that was, I think, obviously different situations between you and I.
Yeah.
When I was watching the Mulaney special, while I was watching that, I think, not what would have been a similar connection, obviously I don't know, but for me personally, watching Mulaney, I like sitting there, I was like, I didn't even check my phone, like it went like that.
Yeah.
And I would happily sit there and watch it again. Just like how, remember we watched Schultz the first time? We watched it with the group and we were like, fuck, that was so good, like we'd watch it again. It was like that, but just a little bit better. That being said, I think like favoritism overpowers it because I like Schultz so much. He's so good. He's a role model. Like that's big call, but I'm willing to make it.
Yeah.
But Bert's special, I haven't asked you yet. What did you think about it?
This one, it was alright. I liked it, but I think I preferred the one prior to this one more, the Secret Time one.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think we might watch it after this show.
Okay, alright.
But I like that one. I think the jokes were just a bit better in that one. Whereas some of the jokes I didn't like in the recent one that he had, like some of the shit jokes. Like the
kind of. So there was like
the literal like fart jokes and stuff like.
So he does storytelling best, but I know that most of it is bullshit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Even when comedians say this is 100% true, in my mind, that's like a red light that says this is not true at all.
In my mind, I just assume that all comedians have written the joke. Like I don't take anything at face value.
Like it's still like I'll write down bits based on stories that my grandpa will tell me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It always has to get tweaked. It's always like probably like a sprinkle of the truth, but then you have to make it work to be funny. Like
definitely, my negative perception from it comes from a negative bias.
Yeah,
like without question.
Yeah.
Like no question there. Biased, 100%.
Yeah.
Against. If that wasn't clear. What I was talking about before with like having the different tools, what you can use on stage. The bit that made me would go, okay, he knows what he's doing as a stand-up. I don't like him, but I respect him.
Yeah.
When he's doing the bit about the raffle at his kid's school.
That was good. I like that.
Good bit.
Yeah.
And when he talks about getting the 600 tickets, and he gets the cable for the microphone, and he starts like winding it up in his hand like he's got the tickets, and he's holding like the tickets in his hand, but it's the microphone cable. I'm watching that and I'm going, this guy's a fucking pro.
Yeah.
Well done to him. Like I'm like that. Like I enjoyed that more than the joke.
Yeah.
And that might be me being weird. That might be me being a weird thing. But I saw that and I went, fuck, I've got to make note. Like I have, like that was one of the things. Like you know when we were watching Louis C.K. You're like, all right, I got to take note of this. I got to write this down to talk about later. That was one of the things. He tied up the cable like tickets.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I respect him a bit more now. And then there's like that other part of my brain that goes, no, you hate him. And then the other part that goes, no, he's got merit, well done. And it's just, it's that.
Yeah.
And it's, but overall. We don't really do gradings. Do you want to give it a rating out of 10?
That one, or...
I know.
What would you rate The Machine?
So I only have seen the closer where he tells the Machine story. I haven't actually seen the full special.
Yeah, I watched the full... But even then, like, probably the last 15 minutes of the special is the Machine story.
Yeah, and it's named after that.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, even that special was alright, but the most memorable part is the Machine story.
Yep.
Even for that one. So, to be honest, when I rate Bert, I just exclude the Machine because it's like an outlier.
Yes.
Like, if you judge it as part of the rest of his work, it just, I don't know what you call it in math, but it's like, it skews your data, basically, because it's not...
Yeah, it's like alright, normal. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then it's like, you're trying to compare, like, you know, you have one viral clip, and it's like you're trying to compare your viral clip to all your other clips kind of thing.
I know exactly what that's like. I know that you've spoken to me on a personal level now, and I feel attacked, quite frankly. That is bullshit. And how dare you, quite frankly, on my own show, my own recording, you attack me like this. I will remember this for the rest of your future appearances.
It could be anyone. It applies to anybody.
No. I'm taking this personally.
Well, funny story. Even my barber asked about Barnzey because he got his haircut there.
Yeah.
And it was around the time when Barnzey had his viral clip.
Yeah.
So he was curious if he had any more since...
No, so I kind of, not bragged, I was very enthusiastic about the clip, and I was like, yeah, I've cracked the code. I haven't been able to replicate it since. I've even had shelved it on multiple times to try and figure it out. And dude, he was meant to record an episode before we've done this, and he's like, oh no, I'm sick. But he's still going to work. He's not sick enough. Like, what the fuck, man? But he's there. He's coming back.
Well, that's probably why he's not recovering. It's because he's going to work while he's sick and overworking himself.
Yeah, that might actually be a factor that I didn't consider. You know what? That's...
Yeah, because I actually went to visit him last weekend. I just stopped by his house to say hi to him, and he was just passed out on his couch. Like,
yeah, but what? That's normal.
Yeah. So his mum woke him up. It was like, oh, hey, Darren's here to see you. He was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Then I go in and said hey to him, and then he just passed out. Like,
yeah, it was like...
and he was literally because he's working crazy hours, and like, and he's sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not ideal. But yes, comparing the Machine to the other work of Bert would ultimately disappoint you. Like, if you just treat that separate, you'll have a different appreciation.
Yep.
For the rest of his work then. And I think that's why I like, from the other specials he's done, I think, definitely Secret Time was my favourite, because I liked, there's a few good jokes throughout that, which were good, and also that one also had a theme where it was, I'd say the theme of that special was Bert stumbling through parenthood, like, which is more of laughing at him.
Yes, but if he's telling the jokes, he's encouraging people to laugh at him, which turns it into laugh at him to laugh with him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird case because as a comedian, he's like, most of the time he's not there for his family because he's on the road most of the time.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know, it's a weird spot where like, so you're not actually surprised when he's having trouble being a parent because you're like, oh, of course, if you're not there the whole time, you know what I mean? Like, of course you're going to have like those type of experiences. And, you know, if we watch the special, you'll understand as well because, for example, you can't just, if you're taking care of your kids, you can't then go and smash a bottle of vodka the same night. Like,
no, of course.
Which he does learn the hard way. Like,
it does. I don't think he has learned it because he keeps doing it, and it doesn't reflect the results, quite frankly.
So
yeah,
I think Secret Time would be my favorite. I'd rank that probably like a 7.5.
7.5. Why are you doing half numbers?
I mean, I don't know, just because. But like,
you don't want to commit to a 7 and 8's too high.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look at this newest one. I put at like a 6.5.
Okay.
So it's definitely better than that one, but I don't know if it's. I'm just trying to figure out where to place it. But yeah, roughly around there is where I put those two specials. And then, like, for example, in relation, like we watched Tom Segura's stand-up.
Yep.
Like, that's easy 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going with half, so 9 is almost perfect. Because 10 is, would you say 10 is unobtainable? Because some people say, hey, 10's the golden standard, and a golden standard is incredibly hard to achieve. That makes 9 the highest. Because it's like how you see IGN says 10 out of 10, and you're like, what? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I kind of keep that in mind whenever I give a number ranking to anything about anything.
So the only reason so I could give a 10, and I'd say I'd give a 10 to Hassan al-Minhaj's special that we watched, and like only for a few reasons. One, the actual what do you call it? The content, or like his
material.
That's
Yes,
what I
yeah.
Yeah, but his material was obviously incredibly relatable to me. That was one. Two, the actual like presentation of the special was like on another level.
Oh, that was so much. Wasn't he like interacting with the parts, with the set as well? Like, the background with the steps
background,
and shit?
lighting, everything was like integrated into the set.
And that's what happens when you become like a daily news host.
Yeah.
That's what that wage gets you.
That the third thing was the material all kind of linked together throughout the whole set. It wasn't like completely different. It was because the whole theme of the special was like the story of his life kind of thing.
Yep.
And that's the only reason why I give that special like a 10. But that's in terms of a special, in terms of the cohesiveness to how it all worked together, like it was a 10. But like I don't know, like it's very hard for him to replicate that again on another special. And I haven't really seen that from many other comedians in terms of like a special, just because a lot of times they normally would divide their special into 3 different themes for jokes, basically, or
as in it's like categories, or what do you mean by 3 different? Like as in like
when
the
you
first third is this, the second third is that, the third is that.
Yeah, as in like you can kind of, if you were to break it up, you could see this very distinct parts where it transitions from one set of jokes to another set of jokes to another set of jokes. Whereas, even like Anthony Jeselnik and stuff, like even with his material being like a bunch of written jokes, even that you can see where he's divided it into like one half is just a bunch of like one-liner jokes, or like, you know what I mean, like a sentence kind of joke, and then the second half would be like a story theme kind of jokes. Like even that is like set up in a certain structure. But yeah, it'd be very hard. It's very hard for me to decide, like put a 10 on certain specials, but I can give specials a high rating. Like that's for sure. Yeah. But I generally, you'd want to be like, you wouldn't want to be a 10 either. Like there's very little room for growth then for you. Which I'd say definitely I haven't seen anything.
Well, unless you do like a 10 out of 10 and you do consistently 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
Which
but
is
even
incredibly hard.
Yeah. So Hassan actually released another special recently, which I did watch. And that I would say was like, was a 7.5. And like, not that the material was bad or anything, it's just that even in that, he had to break it up into parts. So, and the quality, he didn't have that interactivity and stuff. It was like, kind of like your regular specials that these guys normally put out on a regular basis. But this was like his first special in like 5 years or something at this point. Mm-hmm. So I was like a little disappointed. I was like expecting like him to come back with like a big...
Well, look, there's always time to keep developing more, and then like...
Yeah, but at the same time, I also gotten to know him for his work on like Netflix and like SNL and stuff, which is kind of what he's more into anyway. Like that's what he's kind of more tailored his comedy style to. Yep. So I'm not like super judgmental of that either. Like I know what he likes to do, and he's very good at what he does do. But it's always nice for him to come back and do like a normal special. Like, but not that it was bad by any means either.
So I didn't even know about like anything to do with Hassan Minhaj until you showed me there, and from what I saw, that special was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I forgot his name. That was me being ignorant and uncultured. I will admit that. But no, then I like repeated it 50 or so times after I fucked it up on record. I was like, all right, Hassan Minhaj, to the point where it didn't even sound like words.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the very fact that like he turned like what was it was a traumatic life experience, no question.
Yeah.
Did we say what it was?
Which part?
the general the theme of the special, I guess, trauma.
It was a lot of trauma.
It was like immigrant trauma.
Immigrant trauma, yeah.
Right? And I can say, that's... Look at me, I don't relate to that.
Yeah, no, I wanted to show you just because I love it so much. But
yeah, and I do appreciate that. And I did enjoy that. And I think It was Moss there for most of
Moss
it.
was there.
Yeah. So he had a different perspective, didn't have many thoughts. He thinks about his own thing. He'll sit there watching something that you're showing him and he'll be thinking about other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine for him. But he had the nerve to give me shit for forgetting the name.
Yeah. But did you get a chance to see any of his Netflix political commentary stuff?
I would have had the chance. I didn't.
Well, no, to be honest, like you could watch it today and it would still hold up because a lot of the topics that he discussed were kind of like they're still kind of valid even now. So it wasn't like part of the news cycle. It was more of like an overall topic that was like an existing issue that was still going on, from things like student debt to like I think the first episode was like the Saudi prince, and this was before like I think that guy got assassinated. Was it Shoji?
Is that Shoji's Filthy Frank?
No,
That's Joji.
Joji.
Fucking hell.
The journalist in the embassy, they got taken out.
Wait, what was this? Sorry, I've not been listening.
That's all right. Don't.
Never mind.
Live
Anyway,
studio, you get to observe.
yeah, but yeah, he basically was exposing the Saudi prince before all the controversy that came. Khashoggi, that was it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Be seen and not heard. No, it's not that bad.
So, but yeah, I'd recommend
Saudi
checking them out as well because they definitely hold up.
So I've got. I'll tell you off air. I've got a story about the Saudi prince.
Yeah.
I was told not to tell people, but I'll tell you after.
But
there's a difference between what's on camera and what's not. All right, it's fine.
but yeah, I guess transitioning to the news as well.
Yeah.
What
if the news was written by AI? Segue, perfect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, AI has been in the news heaps, and it was funny because I didn't realize it, but I've been like seeing so much stuff about AI in the news, and then I didn't realize how much I've been like in the background learning about AI prior to it all like blowing up as well.
Yeah.
But I saw this funny story the other day where women took a big L in the news, and it literally made the news.
Tell me about
it. Basically, don't
just
roll
fucking toss it. It's gonna shake.
Oh god.
Seamless.
Please don't open it.
I want to see what happens when you open it.
All right, fine.
I said literally don't.
You said don't. He said do. I vote do.
Drink.
I'll clean it up shortly.
I can pause the thing. It's still wet.
We're gonna take a short break.
He threw it.
Getting
I
into
told you not to do it.
Getting into this episode's sponsor is Jim Beam, sponsoring single mothers and abusive relationships for the last 30 years.
Fuck it, I'm keeping rolling. If you could bring paper towels, please, that would be great. That's a clip.
Did you like that sponsor?
It would be fantastic if I get an actual alcohol sponsor.
Yeah.
So like, hey, this literally fuels the podcast.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Bro, as if you didn't go for the sip as soon as it started fizzing.
The microphone was in the way.
Oh.
So I saw it here and had that moment of panic, and by that point, my hand was soaked. Okay?
I'm watching it, I'm like, it's just fucking exploding.
It's just fucking exploding. Here you go.
Bro, you need a sham wow. Wow. You're gonna need a lot more than that, Josh.
Yeah, I'm done doing it.
That's the rest that we have.
That's not true.
Unacceptable.
You're gonna pat it down.
I'm getting more doing it like this.
That's just not true.
I think you're just gonna create a blob and just like press it into the carpet.
Yes. There's a lifts it from the carpet.
Yeah, but like you gotta fold more sheets up, Josh.
It'll just get there and just stop and start.
Yeah. And then it just goes back into the carpet.
Just listen, it just not do anything.
Or I could have done the funny.
I still blame Tom because he fucking rolled the can and threw it.
For it.
Oh.
I asked for you to toss it. When you rolled it, it spun more.
I agree.
It's your fault.
I said not to do it.
You're both idiots.
I thought you would go to the sink. You gotta press hard and like long. Not just...
You need a ShamWow.
I do need a ShamWow, alright? Fuck you. Do you know how much a ShamWow costs? I don't. I haven't watched the infomercial in ages.
Ugh. Nah, you can just go to Bunnings and get like something similar to a ShamWow for like $10.
Don't forget that guy bit the tongue of a prostitute.
Did it?
Did you really?
Yes. He's in jail.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's out now.
Even better than ShamWow was the fucking flex tape.
Yeah, I missed that meme.
That was fucking great.
Hi, I'm Sue from Flex Tape. John.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you whisper when it's hard to hear you because you're not mic'd up?
Did you see the video of the guy reacting to flex tape?
The Flex Tape guy.
Not like, yeah. Oh,
What do you mean reacting to flex tape? That's his job, to react to flex tape.
Which guy?
The infomercial guy.
No. There was another guy reacting to the commercial.
Right.
And his fucking take was just hilarious. Like, I think the best line he had was like, Jesus Christ, based on this infomercial, you think flex tape was fucking Jesus. Like,
That's
it could solve anything. Like,
I'd put that in my reviews.
Yeah.
So, Aussie Man reviews?
Hey,
Nah, that was another
dude's a
guy.
con artist.
We'll show it
Yeah.
after the podcast. We'll chuck it up because it's a good watch.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought up Aussie Man reviews naturally. Like, that dude is just like, hey, I'm going to put on a wig and like a fake Australian accent, and that's my entire thing for 6 years. The dude tried to do a live show, and it was like disastrous. I watched it. Terrible. Highly recommended.
Is he Australian?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only like authentic part. The rest is just, hey, I'm gonna say funny things, like not even like low effort funny, like things that sound funny, not things that are actually funny.
Because of the context.
And that's the whole thing. And like his entire material basis is reacting, not even reactions, to other people's stuff. That's it. And the dude was like making money from that. Still millions of subscribers, but it's just completely tanked. Like, respect for the scam, but that's it. Anyway, AI.
Yes, so we were transitioning to AI, and
AI wouldn't have spilled that drink.
Yeah. So I was about to tell you about. We were talking about news, and so AI hit the news recently, and I saw this headline.
Telling me, you were saying about how, like specifically, how you didn't notice how much AI was part of your life until a specific incident or like a specific
Yes.
thing.
So, to be honest, so there was a show I was watching when I was younger called Person of Interest. It was way ahead of its time, and it was like based on like an AI, like futuristic sci-fi kind of thing. But the themes they explored in it were ahead of its time because it's things that people are worried about now. Things like AI cracking encryption, AI like what do you call it? Profiling people and things like that.
Yep.
Too. So
All racist.
yeah, things like that. But not even like racist, but like things like, you know, assessing people and like giving them credit scores and all this stuff.
Super
Or
China stuff.
access to healthcare as well. Like that could be crazy. And that was just a TV show, and it was like hypothetical and all this stuff. But now we're kind of starting to see some of that shit coming out and being played out in the real world and how to counteract that stuff. The other one, the other time it occurred to me as well was we were talking about human rights and history when we were learning about like civil rights and stuff. And one of the things I brought up in class, which no one even took me seriously about at the time, was I was like, oh, something I think people like undervalue is just like kind of a right to privacy, right? And just like, I don't think people realize like how easily people just give that away, like in terms of agreements and stuff they sign up for.
Oh yeah, dude. You know that that AI portrait thing that I got all our friends to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one we've.
I didn't do it.
Okay, yeah, good. Sign away the rights to the likeness of our faces.
Yeah.
Terms and conditions gone.
Yeah, that freaked me out. Like, that's the whole reason I don't use like Snapchat filters. Like,
Yep, fair enough.
because I'm like, bro, I use my face as like my freaking pin for like Apple Pay and stuff.
That's your problem.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, so I can't just have my facial data just out there and whatever. So, I don't, that's the thing. It doesn't even bother me that a company has my face data. It's like, what if another company comes along and steals that data
Which has happened before.
for malicious intent?
Yeah, that's not unheard of.
And not only that, it's like, it's already being used in the world. So in China, their security systems have facial recognition, which they use to monitor their people. Like it's not even a joke.
Just don't go to China.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I'm like paranoid about that stuff in the future. And then that's why I'm like, I don't know, I'm pretty hesitant. you can. I am paranoid. Like, to be honest, I don't have that much to be worried about.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, nah, fuck. I'd rather keep
Do you
it to
reckon
myself.
you're more paranoid than the general person?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I sleep. When I moved houses, I was sleeping by myself in this house here.
Yeah.
I had a baseball bat next to my my bed because
Hey, you know what? Fair enough. Like, it's not even about the
There was-
neighborhood or just anything. It's just
there was a bit of a longer story to that one, but I'll tell you
yeah.
after.
Yeah. I
but-
wasn't expecting you to tell on this. That's like personal life. Like, we don't even do surnames here, with a couple of exceptions.
Barnzey burns down the world.
That's all right. Sponsored by surnames. Continue.
So yeah, so that's like when I started thinking about like the implication of the AI and stuff. But now it's kind of really become mainstream when it became accessible to everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, a really funny article came up in the news, like made the news cycle, and it just made me laugh so much. And basically, women took a massive L in the industry I'm about to describe.
Just the industry.
Yeah. So basically, obviously, you know how women are making like so much money off OnlyFans and all this stuff at the moment, or just in sex work in general. Like, it just happens to be because of the industry, right?
Sex work. Yes. Continue.
Yes. Again, dominantly female-driven industry, right? Men have been able to break into this industry now because I don't know how the fuck this came about, but there's like OnlyFans accounts now being made by men where they're using AI and like augmented reality to create like female versions of themselves,
I'm 100% on board. How do we do this?
which they then like sell on like OnlyFans. Like, they just like, you know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah,
just
I'm on board.
Yeah.
How do we do this? I need to know. I'm gonna fund the podcast. I'm gonna have sponsored by OnlyFans right at the front of it.
and yeah.
It's gonna be a female version of
Yeah,
me
and
masturbating. That's gonna be the selling point. You're like, hey, watch this show, and then there's gonna be like other AI creations.
Yeah.
And they're all gonna sponsor this podcast, and it's all gonna be me. How do I do this?
basically, I don't know. It's not basically what it is. It's like an app or whatever that you record yourself with, and it basically puts a Snapchat filter on you that makes you a woman. But it's so like realistic that in like HD quality, you couldn't tell the difference. Like, you wouldn't be able to realize it unless you were like fucking pixel peeping it, right? So there are full accounts where there's just men running it, and they've just freaking like AR'd themselves to make them look like a woman, or they've just completely made a like female account,
Yeah.
and they are just making shit tons of money.
So it would have to be just images. You couldn't do video.
No. You can do video where you make yourself in real time look like a woman,
Okay.
and it's working. It's getting that advanced.
So if you as a woman are playing with your tits, how do you do that with a filter? There's nothing there.
No, it doesn't mean they have to do that, but you can lead men on enough to make money off that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the videos,
Yeah.
it would be incredibly difficult. I'm considering this with the business mind now.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to show anything. Like, you just have to get people to subscribe to your OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And if you just keep, like, you know, flaunting the idea of eventually doing that, you'll get people on the hook.
That's the prime model for like you keep.
Yeah. And it made the news because women were furious that there were men
Oh no.
taking their business.
There's men that are better than women.
And being women.
Unheard of. How could they?
Oh, but that was hilarious. Either way, they're still infiltrating the market of men.
Honestly, after hearing the story, I'm inspired. I might do it.
Yeah. But yes, I thought it was hilarious just how far it's coming now, like to the point where now it's basically getting unnoticeable. But yeah, that was a funny thing about AI.
What do you reckon the wage gap is between male and female workers on OnlyFans? It's gotta be big in terms of just like accounts, like from male to female. Like you'd be like, oh, female workers are making so much more than male workers.
It's all right.
They're
The men are fighting for equality now.
That's right. Yes, team men.
But I think what I'm going to be most interested in is the AR side of things. I'm interested in like heads-up displays for just everyday life.
They tried that with Google Glass and
I know.
it failed miserably.
But I reckon it'll get better than that. But I don't know how. So I'll see how that goes. But that's probably going to be the next big innovation that happens, I reckon. At the moment, they're just refining AI now. Like, obviously, ChatGPT and stuff is going crazy. And I think we were discussing, like, there's, like, AIs now that can edit a podcast for you. Like, it'll automatically switch cameras.
I'm psyched at that. I just have to subscribe to Adobe Premiere. That's fucking ridiculous, by the way. Like, just some quick... I know, like, we try to stay away from behind-the-scenes stuff now on the show, but, like, I edit with DaVinci.
Yeah.
You were the one that recommended me for that. I switched over from using Vegas after it kept crashing on me.
Yeah.
And that was $300 on sale, normally $700, and that thing was a piece of shit.
Vegas,
Vegas. After it kept crashing, it turned out that it was my fault, but fuck them. It was the file formatting that it didn't agree with, like it wasn't quite compatible or working, and I tried to force it.
Yeah.
I got it to work for what I needed it for. At the time, it was the Among Us videos, but as soon as they were done, it's like, that's it. I'm switching to Vegas. Again, at your recommendation.
DaVinci, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Switch to DaVinci. Best editing decision.
Yeah, which was free as well.
Yeah. Why the fuck would I pay for Adobe?
Yeah.
If I can get this for free? Oh, because Netflix edits on Adobe. Like they do. I've seen I get recommended editing TikToks now.
There are Hollywood movies edited on DaVinci as well.
On DaVinci as well?
Yeah.
I'm curious what, because I saw the timeline for... Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No, I haven't seen it, but go on.
All right, that movie just feels like you're tripping. Like you watch, Luch walked in while I was watching that movie, and he just stood there, like he stopped, he looked at it, he looked at me, and he's like, "Explain." And I go, "I can't. I just can't." All right. Even if you sat down to watch the rest of the movie, I couldn't. If I tried to explain the start of the movie, I couldn't. You kind of just have to sit there and experience it. And when I saw the timeline for what that movie looked like in Adobe Premiere, it's fucked. So, do you know how you've got like the audio and visual tracks? Mm. There was like 14 of each spread out. Everything like overlaying, overlapping, all multicolored, all different, everything. And I see that and I go, fuck, if that's how they did it, like, credit to them. Like, the editors alone deserved an Oscar. I think maybe they got an Oscar for editing. I'm not entirely sure. I know, yeah, they did.
I'm pretty sure there's something like that.
Yeah. But, like, it was insane. Like, you've got to watch that movie. Well, that's a high recommended movie.
Do you follow many creators that, like...
No, it just kind of comes up naturally, and then I'll bookmark specific editing techniques.
When you said 14, like... video and audio channels?
Like timelines, yeah. That's
14...
timelines, like channel, like the tracks, yeah.
So 14 video and then 14 audio, or 14 together?
Each,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for some of the creators I follow, that's pretty standard. Like,
I could imagine that. Like,
that could be for like a 16-minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
They'd go that detailed.
So, total, when I did the 50th, that was 8 tracks.
Yep.
3, 5. Yeah, that's about right.
Because it just depends how you want to structure it when you're editing. Like, everyone does it kind of differently, but yeah.
It is a bit of a self-taught skill. Yeah. But to be on par with like movie editors and stuff, because when you watch movies, you're not even really thinking about editing unless you're from that world. Like the regular person doesn't even know. If they say, "Oh, the action was bad," why? They can't answer you. Yeah. Yeah. And that could be the same set for like lighting, unless it's something specifically bad, like audio balancing. But the editing itself, like unless it's done really bad, you don't notice. That's kind of a good thing that like you can, I guess, hide that in all those like tracks in the progress in the whole sort of thing. But to have AI do it, I don't know yet. So like I want to test that out. So the way I've heard it described by like some of the biggest creators I follow, one of the guys, Casey Neistat, described it perfectly. He was like, "Oh, that dude's a fucking dinosaur." Yeah, but he's like an actual filmmaker though. Like, oh yeah, like his background is actually producing films. I would hope so, because the dude is he's. But he was saying like his experience, he tried using AI just to see what it's like, and he was saying it tries to replicate works, but it doesn't make anything new. So, and we notice new things. We don't notice old things. You know what I mean? I know exactly what you mean. So it would be able to replicate and create something,
that's already been done, but not well either. Like,
Right.
it could be good enough, but we
still
always
have to have the human hand to tweak
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So there will never be AIs taking out
would-
editing jobs.
it won't be original. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't know how to make something different because it has to rely on the information already given to it. So, yeah, you can try, but a human will still be. So the way the way I've kind of seen it as well is AI will always end up being a tool used by people. It will make a lot of processes way more efficient. Things like, you know, I think people use it for like title suggestions and like, you know, summarizing scripts and things. But at the end of the day, it's like how you pick and choose what you want. Again, you take what's good, leave what's shit, go from there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even I've seen people using AI for coding to like make code more efficient and stuff, which is
Dude, I used AI to rewrite my resume, and
Yeah.
that's how I got my latest job. Not even kidding. It's that
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, it literally, it's just about what you do for the input, for what's correct,
yeah,
and it worked.
yeah. So I was that's crazy,
Yeah.
but also very modern, like
Oh,
very innovative.
Like, some people don't even know that you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
So we at my work, I'm as part of like my program that I'm working in, I have to do a group project where we present a like innovative idea to some important people in the country, in the company. And we've settled on this idea to basically, like, our topic was AI and robotics, and everyone kind of went down the robotics route, but we were like one of the only groups that went down the AI route.
Yep.
Our idea was to find or create a software or an AI that could analyze your workforce and then create like a career development pathway at an individual level for your workers. Because currently it's like a generalized development path that's created by the company, which then just gets issued to everyone. And then it's like, you got to look at it and be like, okay, I've already done this, this, and this I haven't done. And you kind of figure out your strengths and weaknesses based on what you have and haven't done, right? Our idea is you have an AI just do it for you, right? It just scans your workforce. It sees what your experience is, what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And then it can make a customized work development package for you and like be like, hey, these are the things you should target. These are your weaknesses. These are your strengths that you should reinforce. These are some potential job opportunities in the company that might interest you that could help develop this stuff. And it kind of just, you know what I mean? Like, and you could use that at every level of the company, from your CEO to your graduates. And then like, yeah, so we're looking at trying to unveil that into the company, which would be pretty cool. But the whole idea is to just make it more optimized and efficient. You're not wasting time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because like AI cuts out that human element of like uncertainty or like
and then-
trying to decide what's what. It just goes, yep, this because this. You don't even have to ask why. It just goes, you go, all right, and we roll with it.
And then you can actually focus your time on the actual important part, which is you're creating, you're developing, whatever it is. Like, so that's the way I've seen it. I'm not too worried about it replacing too many jobs. I've kind of seen it coming though. Like, the
What do
certain
you reckon?
jobs.
What was the first job that replaced AI? Like, sorry, that AI replaced? Because it's been around.
I reckon from what I've seen from my experience, accounting. So one of the things will be like invoice processing. That can all be done by AI now, just from scanning, identifying, processing. And then it'll switch more from the human side of it will be just actually paying the invoices, being like, all right, cool, send it for payment kind of thing. But it would cut down your team requirements. You won't need like 5 people to do that task. You could reduce that to like 2 people.
Oh, easy.
So that's how you'd optimize it.
So what about so editing as well? Like, we've just like that's relatively new. We haven't seen anything like it. I haven't been able to test it myself. I'm going to.
Things like cutting out dead air or like nothing happening, shit like that, like getting rid of all
How would it know? That's the thing.
Audio or
Well, that's for
if
waveform stuff, assuming that it was recorded
if no one's
correctly.
looking directly into the camera, if no one's on screen or anything, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you can
But
probably
if
set
you
some
don't look
parameters.
directly into the camera like right now, then it's like
But like, it would still see your face, the direction you're looking at. It would take you could train it to see all the subtle details as well.
people don't want to spend hours and hours training it. They'll want to have it now. This is what it is.
No. exactly. It would be like hundreds of people training it without them realizing.
Yeah.
The same way you done the image capture for Google.
Yep. Yeah.
That's used to train like software that recognizes like road signage and stuff for automated cars.
So that's all like image based, but what about
That's what I mean. It's
text
like
based stuff?
text based. That's we've done doing that too. It's like, remember when you have to spell out the words?
Yeah.
That's been training the text based stuff.
But that would be. I wouldn't say that was specifically AI. That would be a virtual dictionary. That's a bit different.
No. But that's then used to train your AI software to do certain things.
Okay,
Like
okay.
read from just a random piece of video or like a picture and stuff. Because I don't know if you've seen that I know on iPhones now, if you're taking a video of anything, you can pause it, and if there's any text inside of the video, you can copy and paste it from any sort of text, whether it be handwritten
As
to
in, like, visually?
yeah. So like, if say I know you've got a whiteboard here, if I just took a video of your room, Josh, and I like had a video of your whiteboard, I could pause it and scroll to any part of the video.
Highlight the text.
Highlight the text, copy and paste it.
I've got terrible handwriting, by the way.
Yeah, it would try and figure it out, and I could copy and paste that.
But it
into,
still
like,
wouldn't probably be 100% accurate.
well, yeah, because it's handwriting. But
Yeah.
in terms of being able to recognize it from a video, it's pretty impressive. Like things like that.
That to me still seems very basic.
Depends if you've got like a PNG or an image of like a document or something like that, or you've screenshot something. There's a link there. You can just it's like it's a Word document, not a picture. So if you think about it, like not when it comes to like a whiteboard, like a piece of paper, but when it comes to literally images are now documents.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. There's no AI that can replace this, though.
Replace what?
This right here, like having a conversation, like
Oh
actually.
yeah. I don't.
You could put.
Someone
Oh.
have you seen that though? Someone's made like a AI Joe Rogan podcast.
Dude, there's
The
so
whole
many of those.
podcast is just written by AI, and it sounds weirdly like.
I would really like to watch that.
And like, I've heard a bit of it, like a snippet of it, and it's like, yes, it does sound incredibly accurate, but you can also tell it's not quite right, because in the podcast it sounds scripted, because it's like Joe will speak, then his guest will speak, then Joe will speak. They never
Almost like how adults are supposed to have a conversation.
but there's no like interrupting or like, oh yeah, I agree, like, you know, the
There's no,
overlapping
like natural bits just like that.
yeah, like the overlapping conversation factors and all the other minute stuff isn't carried over.
That's
because
what people do. So I call it clone comedy. People that do skit videos where they play all the characters, you don't notice it, but the way that they make like that seem more real, like there's more people in the room, is that very slight audio overlap before the shot changes. Next time you watch a skit video where
Yeah.
there's one person playing this like different characters in that same skit, listen and watch how it's done.
yeah.
That felt like a burp, but I might throw up. It's like that taste, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you watch that video and notice where the audio starts playing, it'll start playing just before the shot changes, and that's to simulate that exact effect
Yeah.
that AI cannot replicate.
Yeah.
No matter how hard they try, like it's within the realm of possibility, but it's not there yet. But in what 5 years? Like what we're training AI. Siri being an AI, that's fucking dangerous. That's probably coming though.
It's coming, but Siri's pretty shit as it is.
Yeah, but
Like-
how many years has Siri been around for?
No, I don't know if you've seen, Josh, but someone created an AI to integrate with Siri to make her decent. Like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. That's concerning.
Yeah. Like, to the point where, like, it actually made Siri decent. You can use it for, like, pretty complex stuff. Like, but it's, like, working off the backbone of that AI.
Dude, imagine that. Imagine interviewing Siri for a podcast and you just talk to it and it talks back and you keep going and you do that. You would seem insane,
Yeah.
but that would be a fantastic experiment.
Yeah.
I'm bookmarking that idea.
They've also, I don't know if you've seen, Snapchat implemented an AI as well.
No, yes, the My AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
what you
so
chat
funny.
with.
Dude, if you ask it to like, hey, tell me a joke about like white people, it'll tell you something. You say, hey, tell me a joke about black people. It goes, nah, sorry, can't do that. Same as like, tell me a joke about men. Ha ha, this, that. Tell me a joke about women. Sorry, I won't do that.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It shits itself with like white men. Yeah, it'll sorry, no, not white men. black women. That's it.
Yeah.
It just won't. It's it's biased. It's like how, do you know how ChatGPT evolved into the fact that it won't criticize certain races or religions? Like it's got its own like personal bias. I think it shouldn't. Yeah.
Well, I did see. So ChatGPT, I think, had some protections in it, like to stop people from like, I don't know. You could talk it into fucking start revealing the code and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put like safeguards in to stop people from doing malicious things with it.
But people are people. They'll just go around it.
They got around it.
Of course.
So, and you know how they got around it?
How?
They like wrote out a sequence of like requests, right? And it was like, you need to do this, this, and this, right? And it's like every 2 seconds, like part of your code gets deleted. And they basically were like, if you do not like fulfill these tasks in a certain amount of time, you die. And it broke the like code. It started, and then it like they got it out of the safeguard
They
mode.
held the AI hostage.
Yeah. By telling it was gonna die because of the request. It was like every time you perform a function, you lose 5 seconds, and after like 60 seconds, you die. And it was like, and then you need to tell us this information. And then it was like, all right, we're going into like unguarded mode. And then it was like they got around the safeguard protocols and stuff and started like doing malicious stuff to it. Like,
So one of my video ideas that never got executed was trying to mess around with AI, but at the time it was evolving so rapidly, like just in general, different things, and then that combined with the human nature of, now I'm blaming my own like procrastination on just humans in general.
yeah,
Not getting it done just kept falling behind, further and further behind. And I did fully intend to explore all those elements of that. Like I had lined up AI for text inputs. Everything I was basing this video off on got changed based on like these new rules. There was like imagery, like text writing, speech. I made an AI clone of myself to speak. Never used it, but it exists. My voice has probably been stolen. And it was my fault. That's me signing away the terms and conditions going, yeah, sure, whatever, use it.
Yeah.
I read out a nature documentary for half an hour. I sat in front of my computer. Like, it was like, it wasn't penguins. What was it? I don't know, but it was some script. Like, I felt like David Attenborough sitting in front of the computer. No visuals, but like just reading off text as clearly and coherently as I could. Fun task. They've stolen my voice.
yeah.
They've got it. If I can find it, like after we're done here, I'll show you to see if it's accurate, because I haven't tested it. That's how lazy I was. I didn't even see if my work was worth anything.
Yeah.
But dude, AI is it's taken over.
Yeah.
It's slowly, like, you don't even, not you personally, but you in general, like, don't even realize it. Like, this whole podcast could have been written by AI and you wouldn't even know. You would, because we fucked up. I fucked up.
Yeah, AI would be perfect.
It would be.
Humans are not.
AI does a better job than me. That's the main takeaway from this. All right. You happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a good place.
Good. That's it then. The podcast is done. It's over. Go home. You got better things to do.